Tom and Becky had started through the cave with the other children, but soon grew tired of the games and wanted to explore the cave alone. As they walked further into the cave, they read on the walls the names of other people who had passed that way. Tom and Becky also put their names on the wall. They came to a place where a small waterfall fell over the rocks. Tom went behind it to let his light shine through so that Becky could see all the different colors. Behind the waterfall was another cave that led further down. Tom made a mark on the wall to guide their way back. He and Becky entered this new branch. They walked further and further into the cave, discovering huge rooms filled with colorful rocks. Each time they went into a different branch, they made a mark on the wall. When they entered one of the large rooms and shone their lights on the walls, hundreds of bats began to fly at the lights and the children ran. "Bats," Tom said. The sleeping bats, disturbed by the children's lights, began waking up. Tom grabbed Becky's hand. "Run," he said. "Run as fast as you can." Thousands of bats began flying toward the children. Tom and Becky ran from one branch to another, trying to escape from the bats. Finally, the bats were gone, and the children found themselves in another large room beside a dark lake. They sat down to rest. It was very dark and very quiet by the lake. "It has been a long time since I heard the others," Becky said. "Oh, we've come a long way from where they are," Tom said. "We're below them and far north or south, or east or west. I'm not sure, but we can't hear them from here." "I think we should go back, Tom. I'm scared. Do you know the way?" "Well, I think I do, but there are many bats in that cave, so a different way would be better." Becky shuddered. "We must not get lost." "Oh, we won't, Becky. Don't worry," Tom said, but he was worried too. They began walking again, but everything looked strange. Becky began to cry. "We're lost, Tom. We'll never get out." "Somebody will find us, Becky." Tom shouted into the darkness, "Hello! Can anybody hear me?" But only the sound of his own voice came back. Becky began crying harder. "Tom, let's go back to the lake. We'll have to go through the bat cave again, but that's better than being lost." Tom thought for a moment. "Becky," he said, "I'm sorry. I didn't make any marks on the walls. I don't know how to get back there." "Oh no, Tom." Becky dropped to the ground and wept so loudly that Tom thought she would die. He put his arms around her and said he was sorry again. "I shouldn't have brought you so far into the cave. It's all my fault." "No, Tom, I was wrong too. We were both stupid to come this far." She got up and they began walking again. "We might have to walk a long way," Tom said. "We'd better just use one candle." By the light of one candle, they walked and walked until they were too tired. They sat down to rest and began talking about home, their friends, and family. Becky said, "I would like to see some sunshine. I'm tired of this darkness all the time." Becky fell asleep. Tom watched her sweet, peaceful face and felt better. When Becky opened her eyes, she was laughing, still in the dream she had been having. Then she looked around and stopped laughing. "I wish I hadn't opened my eyes," she said. "It was so beautiful in my dream." "We're not going to die. Come on, let's go." Tom took Becky's hand and helped her up. They walked hand in hand through the caves, looking for a way out, but they had no hope of finding one. Tom said they had to be quiet and listen for falling water. Soon, They found a small waterfall and sat down beside it to rest. "I'm hungry, Tom," Becky said. Tom took a piece of bread from his pocket and shared it with her. "Let's go, Tom," Becky said. "There must be a way out soon." "Becky, I hate to tell you this, but we don't have any candles left. This one is almost gone. We'd better stay here where there is at least water. People will be looking for us. They'll find us soon." This made Becky feel happy. When would they discover that we were not with the others? On the boat? "It will be dark on the boat," Tom said. "Your mother will know that you have not come home." "Oh no," Becky cried. "She thinks I'm staying at the Harper's house tonight." Now Tom was very afraid. The last candle burned down, and they were in complete darkness. Becky cried in Tom's arms and then fell asleep. Soon Tom fell asleep too. When they woke up, they didn't know how much time had passed. Was it day or night? Was it the same day or the next? Tom tried to figure out what day it was, but Becky didn't care. She had no hope. "What does it matter what day it is?" Becky cried. "We're going to die anyway." Time passed. They were hungry. Tom shared his piece of bread with Becky, and they had some more water. Suddenly, they heard a sound like someone shouting. Tom answered. The shout came again. They walked toward the sound, but they came to the edge of a rock where the floor fell away. They could go no further. The shout became more distant, and finally they couldn't hear it any more. They returned to the waterfall. More time passed. After sleeping for a while, they thought that maybe another day had passed. Now they were very hungry. Tom got tired of waiting. He needed to do something. He had some string in his pocket, which he had tied to a rock beside the waterfall. Holding one end of the string, he and Becky began walking. The string would guide them back to the waterfall. Another day must have passed, and they were very hungry. After taking 20 steps, Tom saw a body far away. The body in the dark seemed to be following a hand. It was Indian Joe. Tom couldn't move. In a second, Indian Joe ran away, and Tom was very thankful. "Why did you jump back?" Becky said. "Oh, I just thought I was going to fall." Tom didn't tell Becky about seeing Indian Joe. They returned to the waterfall and had another rest. Tom decided to try and find a way out again. They were very hungry now. He thought that maybe a week had passed. Becky was too tired and weak to go with him. She said, "But Tom, please come back often, and if I'm dying, please stay and hold my hand." Tom promised that he would and kissed her. Then, with tears in his eyes, the string in his hand, and no hope left in his heart, he started on his hands and knees through one of the openings in the rock.